Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you all. My name is Josh. I am a biologist and a graduate from UC Davis, and today we'll be talking about viruses and the immune system. So I got a couple questions the other day, and one of the questions that I got was, what are viruses? And we'll definitely talk about that in a bit. And also, I think that because viruses are a big thing right now, and the immune system is a big thing right now in terms of like immunity against the COVID-19 virus, I think I should talk about the immune system as well. I also got questions as to like where virus is found, what are white blood cells, and how do white blood cells fight off infections. So I will definitely talk about these things. I'm not going to go into like details, like very specific details about the immune system or about viruses. The purpose of this video is just to give a general description, general definition of what viruses are and how the immune system reacts to fight off an infection or to fight off or destroy any foreign body that enters our bodies. So first things first, viruses are considered to be microcellular parasites. So in other words, we call them parasites. Scientists call them parasites because they need to invade a host. The purpose of invading a host is that they need to replicate. So because viruses don't have their own replicating mechanisms, they need to invade a host, use the host cell replication mechanisms to proliferate. So that means that the cell that's infected will now have the ability to not only replicate the DNA or the RNA or whatever genetic information that particular virus has, but also might have the potential to produce even more viruses. So producing the protein capsules, producing the DNA or the RNA that's going to go inside the capsule, and the rest of the other morphological structures that give rise to the virus. And again, I think I should mention that viruses are not all the same. You have different types of viruses, and depending on what type of virus you might have, like the coronavirus, the coronavirus is called the coronavirus because it has like these little protein receptors around the surface of the virus. And you have other different types of viruses, depending on what species it belongs to, they might have different morphology. And based on the different morphology, the body might react in a different way. So that's a little brief definition of what viruses are in terms of how they affect cells, and now going on to how viruses are structured. Like I mentioned before, they contain this capsid, which is like this protein coat, a hollow protein coat, and inside you'll find either DNA or RNA. So viruses can never contain both; they can only contain either DNA or RNA. And they're found in the air, in the water. They're found everywhere. So your body's always exposed to viruses, but in the same way, our bodies have the ability to fight them off. So that's the reason why we don't get sick every day, because our bodies are very efficient in killing off viruses or bacteria or fungus. Now, going into the immune system, it's a very interesting topic right now because given the coronavirus situation throughout the world, the topic of immunity it's increasing. So I think I should definitely talk about that a little bit more. So the immune system is one of the various different types of systems, physiological systems that take place inside our bodies. The immune system, like many other systems, is there to help maintain homeostasis, and homeostasis is the process of maintaining biological equilibrium inside the body. When you're sick, that means that your body isn't balanced, so there's something wrong. So because of an infection, your body has to increase its blood temperature to fight off the infection, so you don't feel great. So therefore there's something that if you don't feel great, there's something wrong. So therefore your body is not in equilibrium, so it's not fulfilling homeostasis. The purpose of the immune system, obviously, it's kind of simple: fight off infections, fight off viruses, bacteria, fungus, things that are not supposed to be inside our bodies, or things that are things that are not supposed to be inside our bodies. We do have bacteria inside our bodies. In our large intestine, we have E. coli, we have Enterobacter aerogenesis, we might have other different types of bacteria inside our bodies. To be more precise, our bodies are have more bacteria cells than our own human cells. So our bodies have bacteria in different parts, and they're found in essential numbers, and so long as they're found in those specific areas inside our bodies, they normally do not cause havoc. But if you get an infection from a bacteria that's normally found in your body and it goes into a different part of the body, it might cause havoc because that type of bacteria that does that, it's known as an opportunistic bacteria, meaning that it takes the opportunity to infect other parts of the body and cause havoc, and we don't want that. So our bodies are very efficient in how it keeps certain types of good bacteria, if you will, inside specific parts of the body, because they're good to be found in that part of the body. They're not good to be found in different parts of the body. Okay, so now when we talk about the immune system, I guess most people think about white blood cells, and that's great. White blood cells are terrific because they help fight off the infection. They help protect the body from infections. And But white blood cells are not all the same. So there are different types of white blood cells. You have macrophages, you have eosinophils, neutrophils, natural killer cells, T cells, B cells, memory cells. So you have these different types of cells, and they help. They compose together. These cells compose the immune system, and they all perform different functions. And specifically, some of these some of these immune cells fall under one of either two categories. They are part of either the innate immune system. The innate immune system is simply the first line of defense. So when you're first exposed to a foreign body, viruses, bacteria, fungus, and then the second one is the adaptive immune system. Once you already have, that means you've got an immunity to it, so your body is able to fight it off immediately upon first sight. So each of these white blood cells, they perform different functions, and they have different mechanisms by which they fight off an infection. And you might wonder, okay, well, where do these come from? Obviously, the natural answer is that they're made inside the body, but more specifically, they're made inside the bone marrow. So the bone marrow is the home to a type of cell known as hematopoietic stem cells. And hematopoietic stem cells are the cells that give rise to the various cells that are found inside, that are part of what we know as the blood cells, so either white or red blood cells. And based upon the exposure to small molecules, these hematopoietic stem cells can give rise to the various different types of cells, like I mentioned before: macrophages, eosinophils, neutrophils, T cells, B cells, whatever, and even red blood cells, so erythrocytes, etc. And they're found inside the body, inside the bone marrow, and then they leave the bone marrow, go into the blood system, and then go to the different parts of the body where they will help fight off infections or protect the body from any any invaders or pathological invaders. And in terms of how the white blood cells kill off an infection or kill off or remove cells that are defective or infected by by bacteria or fungus, it normally falls into two categories. One is through phagocytosis, which is the process of engulfing a bacteria cell or an infected cell. And one example I could give you are macrophages. So macrophages are cells that are found in high quantities inside the lungs. And I say this because the lungs take in air from the environment, and taking in this air, you're breathing in viruses, you're breathing in fungus, you're breathing in different other foreign bodies that your body doesn't want. So your body has a way of making sure that the air you breathe is in some way clean, or at least cleaner than the outside air. So that way your body has a chance of, like, if there's one virus or one bacteria that escapes and goes into the body, your body can immediately detect it and just kill it off. So that's part of the innate immune system. I should also mention that your skin is also part of the immune system, because it's an impenetrable barrier that protects you from bacteria, fungus, and viruses. And of course, that's great because we want a shield that protects us. But if you have a cut, that's the reason why, like, if you have a cut, it might get infected, because that's an opening, so bacteria can actually fall inside and then causes an infection. But yeah, that's the innate immune system when the body, and that's the process of phagocytosis, which is part of the immune system, which is in the case of macrophages, part of the innate immune system. Then moving on to the adaptive immune system. So this means that you have, I'm going ahead of myself. So now we have to talk about lysosomes. So lysosomes are vesicles that contain digestive enzymes that are found inside the cell. So through these digestive enzymes, by the use of these digestive enzymes, some white blood cells will go to the different parts of the body, detect these infected cells, and release this digestive enzyme that actually kills off the cell, and then after that it's removed from the body. So that's a different way. Another way is through the use of antibodies. So your bodies, and that's part of the adaptive immune system. So the antibodies can only be made once your body has been exposed to the virus or the foreign pathogen for the first time, and then at the second time, it'll already have the experience to fight it off. So the antibodies, what it does, it surrounds the foreign body, so either the bacteria, the fungus, the virus, and it's a means of preventing this particular entity or foreign body from affecting the cells in your body. And also when these antibodies touch the surface of other cells, or they touch the surface of immune cells, the immune cells know that this is a virus, or this is a pathogen that the body has been exposed to in previous times. So it already knows that it just attack on site, it kills it off immediately. And so that's part of the adaptive immune system. So yeah, I think that's a very brief description as to what the immune system is and how our bodies fight off infections. I know that wasn't going into too much detail, but again, I didn't want to go into too much detail specifically because there are other scientists, other specialists in that particular field of immunology or virology. I'm just a biologist. I'm just giving a general description as to what's happening inside the body. If you have any questions, please comment down below. Click that like button. This is my first YouTube video. I know nothing of editing, so I'm going to post this as it is. If you're interested in learning more, or you have any ideas or topics you want me to talk about biology, plant science, etc., please comment down below. And you could also contact me on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram link at the bottom. And yeah, stay tuned, and thanks for watching.